30 seconds.
Longisa na kanaka miti. Ukwandi jokeme kategori. Ena. Chumbukani kwa mingeleka chuchu. Chai. Omusati lo pogati. Omusati region. 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 Omusati lo pogati. Omusati region.
Hello and welcome to the State of the Region address, and we are coming to you live for this special broadcast right here from the Omusati region in the beautiful town of Outapi. I'm your host, Leslie Shiwetha. I'm not alone. I'll be joined by Eric Fundula Nengwanya. Hello, and thank you for joining us. You should be welcoming us because this is your town.
Thank you, Leslie and your team, and welcome to Omusati. Of course, we have very wonderful weather today. That is not as it has been very different the last 2 weeks.
Over the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, over the past 2 weeks. But I'm hope you enjoy this one.
Okay. Me and Eric will be delving into what we can anticipate from the governor's speech. And as it has been custom, whenever we go to every new region, we become tourists. We go out there and see the sceneries. And from Omusati region, there's one thing that I'm sure that each and every Namibian must come to experience is the beautiful sunset. Let's have a look at some of the sights and scenes from this region. And that is Omusati region. Beautiful indeed. You've got the Rakana waterfalls here. You've got the Ngulumbashi heritage site here as well. And plenty of fresh produce along the roads, a lot of wood carvings and so on. But Eric, we're here for the State of the Region where Governor Arjini Sanjala will deliver his State of the Region address. Judging from what he delivered last year, what are you anticipating? What have you seen been improved? What have been the shortcomings?
I'm sure last year he was focusing more on the issue of the activity of the local authority. I remember he mentioned also the issue of agro-processing plant, which has been taking place in Omusati. And there was also the report on youth benefited from the government fund. And he also reported the issue of the negative impact caused by COVID-19. I'm sure this year will be different. We expect him to talk about the issue like a support from central government in terms of food provision for drought relief. You can also expect him that he will talk about water rural supply. We have seen very significant improvement in that. where you have them drilling boreholes in the regions and laying pipes. And a very interesting concept that I have came to see is that that Department of Rural Water Supply under Dr. Water, you can see that they have a shape, improved the shape to work on traditional water wells, to reshape them, to modernize them, and it's quite a very impressive concept. And we expect that the governor will report on that. And of course, he will also talk about the drought in the region and the support that we are expecting or we could have get from the Office of the Prime Minister, and also the activities of that have came from the central government and state-owned enterprises of different calibers. We expect him to talk about that.
Yes, touching on all these things, I know last year he even mentioned about those ones, but new ways to be able to do that. You're talking about modernizing these boreholes. Has it been beneficial to the residents themselves?
Yeah, it has been very beneficial because the rural people had their own way of having their own water. And then now the rural water supply come up with the idea to help them modernize them. So it has become no more an issue of having more money for you to have a boreholes, but just to reshape and copy with what you have. I think it's quite very interesting, and it's benefiting a lot of people in the rural areas.
Okay, good. I just wanted us to quickly also touch on the people themselves from the different villages and towns and local authorities within this region as to what their plights are. And this is what they had to say.
We are in the Okahau constituency where our mayor resides. He did some good work, but we are really not satisfied. We try to make ends meet by selling some stuff in order for our kids and parents to have something to eat. But every day we get chased by cars. Our things get grabbed just to be taken to the offices. Upon collection of your items, a person receives the wrong items, and these are the same security guys that the mayor has instructed to watch over our things. These are the same people grabbing the items from the people. This they do for resale and to make profit from our items. We want development in the town of Okahau. Even if we had to go sell our things at the open market, it does not help because there is no market and customers there. The development is good and going well because we see these new buildings being constructed, but it's still at an infant stage. There are still potholes on the roads, and we want more stores in the future.
Okahau has now developed. As you can see, new complexes are being built. We, however, still want grocery stores in the town so that competition can grow because prices are high. Schools and hospitals will be a good development because it will be great if there were more schools. We students are tired of traveling from one region to the other. That's why we want our leaders to at least consider bringing higher education institutions to Okahau, for example, UNAM or Triumphant College.
We live in our town, however, we have a problem, especially with the clothing stores. We only have one store. We need food and clothing stores.
We need development. We need banks, which is a necessity because then we don't have to go to Otapi for that.
We want development in the form of bringing the banks to our town because most banks are really far and transport fares to Otapi is costly.
The development here is just for some people, but if we can get a natives here in our town, it will be good. And if the guideline book is translated into our local languages, because some of us didn't complete school and we are struggling to read English. Secondly, The development that we are grateful for from our government is the building of schools. However, more hostels needs to be built because children are sleeping in tents. Lastly, this has to do with the provision of accommodation for expecting mothers. They either sleep in tents and sometimes it's rainy and cold. This is a health hazard, especially for the Himba and Themba women. Approaching this issue, however, through our councillor or directly to the government is another problem.
And those are the views of the ordinary people in this region. I think the decentralization of services is one of those ones that most of them are screaming about or are having a problem with. People want banks where they are as opposed to having to travel an XY distance to be able to go and get these services. Is that the issue in the region as well?
Yeah, it is issue in the region, like it's an issue at any other given rural area in the region and in the world. Things like Beng, you know, comes where they see potential in terms of business. Beng cannot come to just any village because the people want it, but they will come to the village when they see they make profit and they have economic viability there. But of course, I'm sure the governor is and his team, they are busy to lobby those kind of commercial institutions to move to the regions and so on.
But it's still also disheartening. Like for example, the last person that spoke there spoke about people still being able to come and sleep in tents before they can be or get the help they need from these health institutions. That is disheartening. Why aren't shelters being built to be able to provide for these people?
It's a matter of a priority, I believe, and also how we get organized ourselves as community, as people from those areas. Members of the community must understand that I should not speak on behalf of the government, but there are infrastructures that are costing a lot of money that are put in place, like hospital, reshaping of the schools, and putting very expensive TVET centers in the regions, and many other things. But the issue of the issue of the women to come and expect to the hospital, it's a shared responsibility that I think the business community, our commercial industry, and many other people should come forth so that they assist the government to put up those facilities. They are not, in fact, expensive. I have seen in Hangwena region, I heard the former governor have assisted the Engela hospital to put it up. And the same business with the same calibers are here in Omusati and the other regions that can also do the same. It's a times of, I think, us and the politicians that are representing those people to mobilize and speak to those people to assist the community.
But also, still staying with decentralization, one of the youngsters there saying that they would like to have a higher institution being in all these other towns. I know it's not always viably possible because of the population and so on, but the mere presence of, for example, the Nkongo UNAM campus within the Omusati region should be able to speak volume.
Yes, of course. One thing that we need to look at most time, we need to demand accessibility to higher education institution. But my thinking and the thinking of many is that Namibia is 2.5 million people. And we can't afford to put a university in each region and each constituency. Or vocational training center in each constituency and each region. It is really becoming over-investment. If you look in South Africa, for example, there are about 57 million, and they are talking about 54 TVET centers only. So it is really, but what I personally recommend and feel is that the government must focus in putting up youth hostels, a hostel for those institutions so that it encourages accessibility. So young people can travel wherever they come from. They have hostels to live in, and access those institutions of higher learning.
So lodging being one of those other problems.
Yes.
Let's move over to education. You just spoke about TVET, vocational education.
Yeah.
I know that this ties in very quickly or nicely with unemployment.
Yes.
A lot of people want black collar jobs.
Yes.
But vocational or education is also very important for the youths themselves. Isn't it something that they should be able to embrace?
Of course. We have seen that currently the government have put up a TVET center in Otapi. That's called the Nakayali Vocational Training Center. And it is very transformed, very modernized, with a highly certificated equipment, training machines and workshops and so on. But the problem is that really it cannot address and respond to the needs of the young people in the region. You have them in numbers that are looking to get access to it, but they cannot accommodate everybody, but the capacity is still limited. Yeah.
Also, staying with education now, for example, the higher education, the Onkongo UNAM campus recently just harvested close to 20 tons of rice. That in itself shows that Namibia at one point or another, with higher institution being involved and pioneering this project, will become food sufficient one day.
Of course, I can agree with you there. In the last 5 to 10 years, we have seen really a big improvement in terms of higher education institution and the researching in different higher education institutions. One example is Owongo. One example is in Zambezi, where we had Karimbeza rice.
Rice project.
Yeah, we have also seen in Commerce in Windhoek, New Dam University campus, where they produce a lot of milk, chickens, and many other things. It's a matter of now the university to join hands with the community, so that those kind of research projects be extended to community and the community to own them, and the UNAM to provide technical support to the communities.
It's one thing to be able to have all these infrastructure for them to be developed. The governor spoke about that at an extensive length last year. You said that we would might also expect that in this budget as well. But listening from one of the residents there, they're saying that there's a lot of potholes. But with all these developments, maintenance should also be following.
Of course.
How do you foresee him laying out maintenance plans in his speech?
I'm sure he might not talk much about the plan, but I'm sure he will focus more on the development of the roads infrastructure in the region, ranging from bitumen road, gravel road, and tarred road. I'm sure, because we have seen a number of improvement in terms of road infrastructure development in the region. But the issue of potholes, that thing I think remained with the local authority concerns, and I'm sure our local authority also find it difficult to manage those roads, maybe because of resources, and sometimes not only resources in terms of financial, but maybe also in terms of human resources and skills, to have skilled personnel who will be able to fix those potholes on time.
Talking about the social issues, last year as well, there were a lot of criminal cases that were on the rise. Crimes were being committed, murders were being committed. What does that say about the social state of the inhabitants of this region? What do you think needs to be done to be able to sort of like calm people down and not take drastic measures?
Yeah, I believe we expect that to come out very clearly from the governor's statement in terms of cooperation between police and the community. Our law enforcement community are seen all over the gathering. I can see that the leadership of the police in Omusati needed to be applauded for involving and engaging communities all over the region. We have seen when Bashon came in, You can see he's really is a field commander. He's always in the street, moving with his officers, making sure that peace and stability is enforced. And we expect much change. In fact, it has been already started. And I'm sure the governor it will also come out from the governor's statement that the crime has been, of course, a bit reduced.
The crime has been reduced. Let's move over to also another sector that is also very important, agriculture. We do know that this year was terrible as far as rain is concerned. That is a whole blanket throughout the whole country. How has the ordinary residents in the different villages been coping? Has there been mechanisms in place or maybe diversity in the way they are farming?
Yes, yes and no. Yes, that we have seen the upgrading to a canal water carrier. We have seen, like as I said, there has been boreholes that drilled all over the region. They might not be enough, of course. We have seen pipe have been laid to different points and areas where to supply water. And of course, Omusati being a region that is where the canal ran through from the Angola, the community here, the farmers are benefiting rather than any other region. You don't compare the farmers in Omusati than Ohangwena, for example. Here they do better. And we are looking at, no, is that there are a lot of challenge in terms of the people who cannot afford, for example, to buy the machine to pump water from the canal. People who cannot get proper seed to plant. People need fertilizers. People need to be supported in terms of how to do farming and how to plant and what kind of crop is good for that time and this other time. And
but
so on.
Is the visibility of the extension officers, for example, from the Ministry of Agriculture, Water and Land Reform, out there to go out to the residents and being able to get this information to them as to these are the conventional ways of farming now?
I don't know that much, but I want to. My proposal is that activity need to be taken over by the University of Namibia. Let University Research Department incorporate the issue of supporting the farmers. Government, I don't think they have that capacity to meet the needs of everybody. Maybe they can just provide that fund to a technical unit, let's say at the university or NAST or any other researching institution to assist the farmers. We have seen, and the complaint of extension office is not only in Namibia. If you go to African countries, you hear those kind of complaint all over. So I think we need to relook and see how we can come up with a strategy. How can we reach the community and how can we assist the farmers?
We have touched on education, we've touched on agriculture. I want us to move to health. Health facilities. I remember coming from Ohangwena region, for example, some of the residents there, they were complaining about the fact that they really had to walk long distances to be able to go to the health facilities. Are there enough health facilities in this region for you?
There's no. We must say no, but of course the effort has been done. There has been a deliberate effort by the state to make sure that the Ministry of Health come up with certain measures to assist, bring health closer to the people. For example, if you look at the borders at Wakasamane and the other places, and I expect that it's coming also out from the governor's statement today, that the Ministry of Health has been very active in this financial year to make sure that health facilities are brought close to the people at minimal as they can. However, we still have challenge. We still have challenge.
Big challenges, says Eric. here with us as we are waiting for Governor Erginius Njala to deliver his State of the Region address. At this juncture, we quickly take a quick break. When we come back, quick preempt before we cross over to the Governor, who I understand is almost ready.
Longisa na kanaka miti. Ukwandi tukeme kategori. Ena. Chumbani kami nyega chuchu. Chai. Omusati no pogati. Omusati region. 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 Omusati no pogati. Omusati region.
Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching a special broadcast for the State of the Region address. Today we're coming to you from Outapi in the Omusati region. Beautiful region indeed. I'm sure that you have seen there. The one thing that I'm taking back home with me is the sunset. Only the sunset, not the sun itself. Let's move on. Vocational education. We spoke about vocational education and how it ties in with trying to address the problem of unemployment. You also wanted to touch on that. Give us an insight.
Namibia have been trying to transform the existing TVET institution in the country. And I'm sure they are busy also reshaping it to become one of the important national institutions in the country by providing skills that will enable community members and youth to actively participate in the economical development of the country and, of course, in the reconstruction of their motherland. Talking about TVET, you need to have skilled people for you to speak about prosper economical development in the country. If you look at a country like Germany, South Korea, Denmark, and Cuba, for example, their economy is well on track. It's because they prioritize TVET. And the perception of our people in our country is that when a person goes to TVET institutions, is those students who cannot do well at secondary education.
What a twisted notion it is.
Yeah, but forgetting that the country that we glorify today, they are very strong, they are very economical fit because they have used skills development at maximum, and they make sure that they prioritize it. Look, when you look at, for example, the president in his Harambe development plan, it was stated that TVET is the economical front runner of any economy of the world. And for us to do better, we make sure that we have to strengthen the economical sector, the TVET sector in the country.
So technical vocational education has to be very important, and I'm sure that from what Mr. Fundula here is saying is that for the youngsters out there, there's a plumbing job out there that needs to be done. A car has broken down somewhere that needs to be done. A house needs to be built, and these are all the people that needs to be educated from these technical vocational education training centers.
Yes.
Also, earlier on, we briefly touched on the fact that the governor had spoken about making Omusati region one of the leading agro-processing region in the country.
Yes.
I know that there's an asparagus plant, for example, in Oshifo. There's another tomato plant that has also been put up. And the importance for that is because there's so much agricultural activities happening that people eventually have to go towards a sustainable way of trying to make sure that once I've planted my tomato, what do I do to be able to preserve it for longer? How is that going, and can that prosper for the region?
It's quite very very imperative ideas it also now encourage our farmers to produce more. One thing that we do, the literature is available, is indicating that many food is wasted in a developing world. I have seen in Omusati here is where you can buy tomatoes, fresh tomatoes, at a very affordable price than any other region so far. Why? Because the production is quite is quite many, and the surplus also in terms of selling is there. But the problem, buying in capacity is a problem. It's a problem. But I can tell you, people here are surviving in small farming scales.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And these are farmers, including those ones that are even farming at Olushanja, I suppose.
Yes, those are the farmers that are including those that are farming at Olushanja, and just local farmers around who are just not organized under any association or any other organization. You have private farmers that are running a very progressive garden in the region.
Mm-hmm. There was also an issue that was raised up by one of those that we spoke to with regard to small and medium enterprises. Some of them, they do go and buy and come and sell, and there's always this whole chain of buy, sell, and resell. How is that working? And also, what mechanisms should the region put in place to try and be able to cater for those smaller businesses? Because some people do go there and support them.
Yeah, we have seen very disturbing news when I listened to one of the community members spoke earlier about security guards in one of the town goes there and destroy their things and so on and so on. These people are supporting the economy at their own class. And what we need to do is to organize them, put them in acceptable forms of traders, because traders are all over. If you go to, I was listening to in Indonesia, I have seen these guys, if you want to buy cheaper stuff, you go to those traders organized in the informal market where they are selling their clothes, selling their electronic appliances, selling everything. So what is the same as our people are doing. Maybe our local authorities and regional councillors needed to make sure that they organize these people, these sellers, these traders under a well-organized structures, and that they are given a space in a local authorities that if you want to buy, for example, second-hand cloth, you need to go which direction. If you want to go and buy a self-made suit or ties or what have you, you go to which place. We just need to reorganize them.
On it, be able to reorganize them. Obviously, for you that are watching from home, we're just waiting for the governor to be ready for us here while we are just trying to preempt and have a look at the economical aspect or geography of the Omusati region. We do know that recently the Electricity Control Board hiked the rates of electricity in the country per unit. It's a pinch in the pocket of the consumer. But once it comes to electricity distribution in this region, has the electricity gone to as many people as possible, or are there more flaws?
There are more flaws, I can say. There are more flaws. And
what should be done to then address that? Because as much as people do complain about electricity is also needed by people to be able to progress in their lives.
Of course. Well, that is a challenge on its own. I don't know whether the rural electrification program is still on with the Ministry of Mines and Energy, or they have given over that responsibility to NORAD. And NORAD being a commercial institution that are working toward to make also their own living, it is not easy to make sure that everybody is covered with electricity. But it's our hope, and it's a hope of the government. Remember, we have our Vision 2030 that is telling us that by 2030 we need to live as like any other person from industrialized nation. And you don't go to Germany today or to UK or to Netherlands, and you find a person without electricity. So really, we needed to wake up and make sure that we support and we walk our talk.
We've got 7 years to go to 2030. Does that look, or that goal look attainable?
Yes, it can look attainable if you look at, more especially with the discovery of the oil in the country. If we are to enter a very well organized deals with the investors, there's a lot of money. We are expecting a lot of income from the oils and gas that can help us really reach our destination. But it requires brain, it requires thinking, and it requires involvement, and it requires transparency and many other things. Yeah.
You just spoke about transparency there. Obviously, another bone of contention, which was even on one of my colleagues, Jonas Bambo's show just this past week, was the thing of doing lifestyle audits. And that has to tie in with the accountability and the transparency of office bearers. Do you see that in this region?
Well, I can't talk much about that, but what I can tell you is that people in the regions are struggling to live their life. I'm referring to a common man in the street and the common farmers and the common village person.
Are they struggling to make ends meet in being able to buy food, or what are you referring to here?
Everything. Talk about, you have seen a person complaining about transport. Just coming from Onesi to Otapi, people complaining about bank must come near them because they are there. By the time somebody send you an e-wallet, for example, of $100, by the time you collect it from Otapi, when you go back, you only have less than $40. The other money went in expenses like transport, like bank charges, like water when you have to come and pick up that money. So it's a tough game. That's why the issue of life audit styles and people living large, that is it's really small number of people.
Small number
and
of people.
And they must be able to account for their life.
Mr. Ngwanya, I would have to cut you off there because I am being reliably informed that Governor Ergenius Njala is now ready to deliver his State of the Region for the year 2023.
Thank you.
Honorable Andreas Shintama, Chairperson of Omusati Regional Council, Honorable Regional and the Local Authority Councillors, Your Worship, Selma Nerago Asino, Mayor of Otapi Town, and other mayors in our midst, Tatekuru Osivin Shifiona Mkulu, Chief of Wambarantu Traditional Authority, Tatekulu Johannes Mupia, King of Onganjela Traditional Authority, Tatekulu Shikongo Taapopi, King of Okwarudi Traditional Authority, Tatekulu Herman Ipumbu, Traditional Authority of Okwambi, Tatekulu Daniel Shoya, Chief of Okoronkadi Traditional Authority, Tatekulu Matias Waraula, Chief Ombanja Traditional Authority, Mr. Grevasius Kachindi, the Regional Officer of Omusati Regional Council, Commissioner Ismail Basson, our Regional Commanders of the Namibian Police, senior government officials, head of government institutions, captain of industries, spiritual leaders, media practitioners, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed my distinct honor for having accorded this opportunity to address this August House today, Friday the 21st July 2023. This is my obligation in accordance with Article 110A, subparagraph 5 and 6 of the Constitution of the Republic of Namibia, which requires the regional governor to attend a meeting of the Regional Council of the region once a year following the President's address to Parliament under Article 32, subparagraph 2, and to address the Regional Council on the state of the region, plan activities of the central government in the region, and report on the central government works during the previous year in the area, and be available to take questions. Nevertheless, it is my vital state that the national economy has not yet recovered from harmful impact of COVID-19. Hence, its impacted has adversely affected the implementation of developmental projects and programs during the year under review. COVID-19 has not yet completely disappeared, and hence I urge our people to observe the established health protocols and get vaccinated. Equally, the regional economy production is severely affected by erratic rainfall recorded this year. This situation can lead to further devastating conditions throughout the region. This has already resulted in insufficient water resources for agriculture, drinking water supply, and the ecosystem, including increased risk of wildfire. Likewise, it was led to crop failure and food scarcity. Therefore, we must build resilience in the fight against climate change. Let me take this opportunity to thank the government of the Republic of Namibia, especially His Excellency Dr. Hage G. Geingob, the President of the Republic of Namibia, for this tested leadership, which have navigated our economy through the hardship and devastation caused by COVID-19. Likewise, I wish to thank the member of the public for the determination and commitment in complementing efforts of our governments resolute in addressing the plight of the less fortunate in our society. I am confident that our combined effort focus will culminate in a robust economy which shall create an able environment in addressing ongoing challenges. Honorable Chairperson, honorable members, so permit me to share with you in this August House several activities which were executed during the 2022-2023 financial year in our region. Pertaining to the development of infrastructure by our local authorities, Ruacana Town Council has invested 690,000 Namibian dollars for formalization of Omonawati Hodu informal settlement. Likewise, Okahao Town Council has spent 8.9 million on construction of a new open market, public apparition at a Hao Expo Center, phase 2 of its office expansion, and upgrading of our gravel road in Okahao Extension 2 to bitumen standard. Sandy Village Council has also invested 4.6 million on maintenance of gravel roads at Extension 2, construction of oxidation treatment plant, phase 2 at Sandy Open Market, phase 2, and Oshikuku Town Council has also invested 3.2 million on construction of bitumen roads in Extension 2, stormwater channel, and open market and consulting services for the said infrastructure. Outapi Town Council have invested 6.1 million on construction of sewer services, water at extension 8 and 12, Tobias Hainyeko, phase 1 and 2, and guardhouse at a gate at the dumping site. The provision of sewer services at ELF 4080 and 4383, extension 4, graveling of 2.6 load and layout design, and the township establishment for the extension 20. Furthermore, Omusati Regional Council has invested 11.1 million on repair and services of sewer pump machine at Ogongo Rural Development Center, supplying delivery and installation of pump machines for Onanjaba Village Council Extension 1, pump extension amendment on extension proper 1 and 2, planning of extension 3 and 4, cadastral survey of portion 9, extension 3, extension 4, and extension 11, that includes cemetery, and extension 1, pump house, construction of oxidation ponds, phase 2 in Onanjaba Village Council, and construction of 50 toilets in rural areas at household level. Similarly, resources were invested in construction of services, infrastructure at Owongo settlement, and the rectification of Omulimbarimba Growth Point in Owongo constituency, and the installation of hydrant system at Omusati Regional Council head office. Equally, 1.7 million was spent on purchasing of materials for Undombo, Odimbwa Ehongo, Oliavakara Elakariapwa, Oinikanika Okashegere, Ombamba Otapatapa, Omapeke, Omaputuga Simba, Onhosi short water pipeline in Erimi, Etai, Ogongo, Otamanzi, and the Utapi constituencies, and the construction of Okuidhia access bridge in Okahao constituency. An amount of 3.4 million was spent on the compensation of 6 homesteads in Onesi settlement and 2 in Etai constituency. Likewise, 5 houses were built in Onesi settlement and 4 in Owongo settlement under the Decentralized Build Together program. I was talking about the upgradation of infrastructures at Okalongo. This time around, it's not settlement. We are talking about village council. And people, they may not understand why. As we speak, Okalongo have declared officially as a village council. It's no longer a settlement. Relating to provision of agriculture equipments and services, 2,111 farmers benefited through the subsidized plowing services, with private and public tractors reaping, planting, and droughting animal power. A total of 48 private operators and 22 casual tractor drivers were hired. Also, 9,987 farmers received 48.9 tons of pear millet, sorghum, cowpeas, and maize. Additionally, 67 farms benefited from the discounted weeding services, under which 8 youth groups were hired and 10 farmers had access to storage facilities. A total number of 138 farmers received the assistance of one-day-old chicks, layers and broilers, poultry feed, medical supplies, and building materials under the Poultry Value Chain Program scheme. A total number of 581 gardens and 519 farmers benefited from the National Horticulture Help Program. Again, 20 farmers received 420 goats, while 2,950 farmers were trained in crop and horticulture production, livestock management, and rangeland management. The Office of the Prime Minister too allocated the drought relief food item, namely 62,480 12.5 kg of maize meal, 62,480 12.5 bags of mahangu meal, 124,960 750 milliliter bottle of cooking oil, 114,168 155 grams and 308,992 400 grams of tin of fish, and 124,960 750 grams of soya beans from August to March 2023. A total of 15,620 households with 74,841 beneficiaries from 5 drought-declared constituencies: the western part of Outapi, Lwakana, Tsandi, Onesi, and Okahao benefited from the program. The Regional Council used services of 10 casual laborers to offload and load the drought commodities at warehouses. Omusati Regional Council was allocated 3 NDF trucks, 2 GRN trucks from the government garage, 1 truck from the OPM, 6 drivers from NDF, and 3 drivers from government institutions to assist with the distribution of items to the drought-declared constituencies. Omusati region was loaned 1 water tanker for emergency water supply within Omusati region from the Office of the Prime Minister. The Memorandum of Understanding was signed between the Office of the Prime Minister and the Ministry of Agriculture, Water, Land Reform regarding the usage of the tanker. Honorable members, Honorable Chairperson, water is life. 1.7 million was invested in the drilling of 3 boreholes. In Tsandi, 3, in Anamlenge 2, and in Lwakana constituencies. An amount of 355,490 was spent on the installation of boreholes in Lwakana constituency, while 1 million on the rehabilitation of 2 earth dams in Outapi and 4 in Tsandi constituencies. Likewise, 237,140 was spent on the construction of a new earth dams in Tsandi constituency, and 172,300 Namibian dollars on upgrading hand dug wells solar installation at Onesi constituency. Likewise, 1.5 million was spent on drilling and installation of boreholes, construction of short pipe line, excavation of earth dams, modernization of duct wells, including the preventative maintenance of water infrastructure at Ombafi, Ombamba, Oikwiwe Ngobe, Onakaheke, Onimandi, Okafituka Kaharabi, Oshikutusho Mtutu, Onambedi, Omtundungu, Omtaku, Oshipeto, Okaonde, Elakalapwa, Ohongo, Okamwake, Okamwa, Ehongo, Onikanika, Okashegere, Otaadia, Orunkavu, Undobo, Okaku, Ukwanita. Similarly, works executed but still on progress at Okapale Kevira, Okatanyange, Ohani, Ohama, Otapatapa, Omaputuga Shimba, Ukwananga, B, Ipanda, Onakafe, Oshipeo, and Onamtuni, Enyama. It is really pleasing to state that the Department of Civil Registration has registered a total of 7,779 birth registration. A total of 499 births were registered during outreach program. Likewise, 10,891 ID applications were handled, while 8,889 AD were gathered. Also, 35 births of children under the age of 5 were registered. During the celebration of Africa's Civil Registration and Vital Statistics Day on the 10th of August, 99 births and 67 AD were registered. In Okalongo constituency, through outreach program, 443 births and 707 identities were registered. Usually, birth registration are conducted after a 1-month period as specified in a legal framework governing the birth registration. However, late birth registration become an impediment since it could lead to registration of persons who were not born in the country. Honorable Chairperson, honorable members, education is the key to life, and hence, 395,768 Namibian dollars was invested on construction of classroom block at Omfitu North Combined School, on Tanda PS Combined School. 3 million on the renovation of 6 classroom block at Tsandi PS and 4 classroom block at Oshedile Senior Secondary School. An amount of 70,000 was spent on the connection of Tsandi Circuit Office to Tsandi Village Council, main sewer, cutting down a baobab tree at Omthitu Combined School, and the renovation of defected of office and house building at Anamlenge Circuit. Also, 1.2 million was invested on the construction of classroom and blocks at Ondeitotela Combined School, Holden Ulenga, Ochovanache PS, and Onanyarara PS through generosity of the European Union. An amount of 1.4 million was invested in the construction of small ablution facility at Onaholongo Combined School, Ontoko Combined School, Ondeka Combined School, Thomas Tutaleni Senior Secondary School, Omindamba Combined School, and Sakes Ihuhua PS, and Anamlenge PS, while 645,880 Namibian dollars on repair sewer system at Onesi Senior Secondary School, and 918,000 Namibian dollars on the renovation of ablution facility block 1 to 6 for girls, hostel 1 to 4 at Nuyoma Senior Secondary School. Pertaining to the development of health infrastructure, 1.6 million was invested on the construction of prefabricated structures for the border services, support site at Okaparerona, Wakasamane, Omahenene border post, and also 403,255 Namibian dollars was spent on the renovation of Ward 2 at Outapi District Hospital, and 19.3 million was invested on Oshikurufitu new clinic and staff accommodation. An amount of 50,400 Namibian dollars was invested in a cardiotocography machine, while 360,216 Namibian dollars was invested in the construction of 2 dental units for Oshikuku, Outapi District Hospitals. Moreover, 2.8 million was spent on the installation of laundry equipment at Okahao District Hospital and Outapi District Hospital isolation wards. It is comforting to report that 74 applications of veterans of the liberation struggle were approved. An amount of 170,000 Namibian dollars was expended for their projects. The Namibian Defense Force, together with the Namibian police and the residents, had assisted the forestry officers regarding to extinguishing fires in forestry. About 27,485 hectares were destroyed, and hence our people should handle fire with care to avoid destruction of rangeland. Honorable members, this year we did not receive enough rain, and the pastures for our animals is very compromising. If we are not then inform our members and try to tell our members not to handle fire recklessly, our pastures will be destroyed and we will suffer as the consequences. And therefore, honorable members, it's upon us, it's our responsibility to inform the public outside there to really double their efforts to take care that that small pasture that we have, we protected it by all costs. Equally, an effort were embarked upon to fight deforestation. Thus, 14,826 seedlings were produced, 36 planted, and 10,914 seedlings were sold for an amount of 128 Namibian dollars. Also, 8 training sessions on tree planting and orchard management were conducted in supporting the Nilaleg projects, tree planting competition for the schools at Ruakana Teacher Research Center, Okalongo, Outapi, Oshikuku, Otamanzi, and the Anamlenge constituencies, as well as America Cooperative. Moreover, 146 farmers received training, while 8 information sharing meetings on the Forestry Act were convened with farmers in Sandi, Okahao, Otamanzi, and Onesi constituency. Likewise, 239 farmers were received forest resource permit, while 191 persons received basic instruction in fire preventing and suppression, along with 8 fire management group. Again, 84 cases were removed from the community and relocated. On the other day, tree planting competition on the Lago Combined School scoop top honor, followed by Sandy Junior Primary Schools. A total of 150 sampling were donated during the day. It was sponsored by the CCIU Project and Adventure Trust with material worth of Namibian dollars. Concerning to the protection of our natural resources, intensive and regular patrol were conducted and led to the recovery of illegal harvested resources. Thus, 1,099 poles, 999 droppers, and 38 tons of firewood were confiscated and sold at auction for 59,670 Namibian dollars. Also, 2,249 droppers, 1,349 poles, and 47 tons of firewood were confiscated and resulted in issuing of 36 fine worth 27,400. Honorable Chairperson, honorable members, regarding to the maintenance of law and order, it is pleasing to state that the crime in the region is still under control. This is due to vigilance and cooperation between the residents and the law enforcement agent. However, increasing assault offenses and domestic violence remain a grave concern. Through the crime rate in the region fluctuated with stealing cases ranking first. The number of theft and home invasion with intent to steal have alarmingly risen. The rise in stock theft occurrences were reported, particularly in Okoronkadi district, where stolen animals were taken into the Republic of Angola. Along Namibian-Angolan border, cases of illegal immigration and smuggling of contraband goods are on increase. Therefore, the police are working hard to reverse these anomalies. Additionally, other criminalities have increased from 1,709 to 4,529. Equally, the number of assaults involving domestic violence has slightly increased with 257 incidents. Again, 112 rape instances were reported, with the majority children victims. Other criminalities were 653 theft, 513 housebreaking and theft, 477 assault, GBV, 447 other assault, and common assault and assault by threat. Colleagues, I think the Honorable Chairperson was just emphasizing why it's so important as communities to start also helping out the police. The statistic I'm just reading is very shocking. And we could see the number is just increasing. Instead of going down, we are going up. It tells us now to say we must, by all means, talk to our communities. Let us involve them in combating crime. $257 domestic violence and 232 stock theft, 226 fraud, 129 theft of cell phones, and 111 robberies. To reduce the criminality, the Namibian police force are activating and increase foot at vehicle patrol to upsurge their visibility and improving crime detection. still 118 occurrences of unnatural death, including shooting, hanging, and overdose, in addition to drowning, suffocation, and other catastrophes were reported. 81 about suicide, 18 involved suffocation, and 16 involved drowning. Sadly, 13 of 16 drowning cases involve toddler death, either in the bucket of water, or shikundu, water ponds, or water canal due to lack of parental care. Most often, toddlers who drowned were left unattended while their guardians, parents, were out at Shebeen. 16 infants mysteriously died of suffocation after allegedly being laid on top by the drunken mother. Colleagues, we know that every citizen in Namibia was given the rights, or have the rights, to do whatever he pleases. But I don't think somebody have the right to go get drunk and then sleep over someone, and lately that person dies as a result. We are saying it's our democratic right to go and drink. It's also our democratic right to go and sleep over somebody. As a result, that person lost his or her life. It tells us that probably alcohol consumption have reached a level that I think we need to control. So, the Namibian police force has already begun taking strong action against such carelessness. Parents, guardians, by filing criminal charges against them and bring them before court to face prosecution. In addition, overcrowding in the police holding cells worsened due to the growing trend in inmates' pollution density. The delay in criminal cases in court is partly contributing to congestion of the police holding cells. Only 7 of 16 police stations in the region have detention centers. Due to extensive repair of holding cells, Outapi police station still lack the capacity to accommodate convicts. The cell capacity in the police cells in Outapi, Okahao, Luakana, Sandi, and Onanjaba, Etai, Oshifo, and Oshikuku is 309, but they are currently accommodating 609 inmates, meaning they have now doubled up that number. It's really a concern. It's a very big concern. Literally, what you are saying is to say a bed that is supposed only to carry one person is now carrying 2 people. If it's not, if you suppose that in one room you need only to accommodate 2, you accommodate 4, I think the condition is not that very good. And therefore, we have really to address these anomalies. Otherwise, we will let the criminal to go free because we don't have where to detain them. It's a matter of concern. Honorable Chairperson, honorable members, in an effort to empower our residents in a rural area, the region have Ukoronkadhi, Seashushona, and Ukwarudhi conservancies. Seashushona conservancies have earned 700,000 from tourism and invested it in the members. 175,000 to establish horticulture garden worth 29,166 Namibian dollars for Okariri Center, building materials for establishment of poultry farming and chicken feed worth of 145,833 Namibian dollars. For Ouziro, Ouninginino, Etiriasa, Omkondo, and Omuthitu Center. 28,000 Namibian dollars to Onganjera Traditional Authority Office and 7,000 cash benefit to Onganjera Traditional Parades. Ukwaruthi Conservancy, too, has generated 235,617 Namibian dollars and invested it in the members by giving them 13,000 Namibian dollars. The Ministry of Environment and Forestry and Tourism has provided diesel to communities of Okangwia, Etumba, Amaupa, Oshaholongo, Okomakwara, Omatetewe, Oshimburumburu, worth of 8,000 Namibian dollars. It was also provided Ukwaruthi Traditional Authority Office with a financial bonus of 5,000 Namibian dollars. Moreover, Ukwaruthi Traditional Authority was sponsored by Ukwaruthi Conservancy with 3 springbok, an oryx, and eland. The Conservancy also donated a springbok to Tsandi Primary School and Omusati Police Tournament with a springbok, and its member at Omakange Center with a giraffe, and Onamwege Center with a zebra. 10 oryxes were contributed by Ukwaruthi Conservancy for the celebration of the National Independence Day on the 21st March 2023 at Outapi. The hunting and fishing licenses generated 19,241,000 for Ukwaruthi Conservancy, but Ukoronkadhi Conservancy was unable to offer any incentive to its members. It was further recorded that 149 cattle worth of 447,000, 24 donkeys worth of 12,000, 192 goats worth of 96,000, 13 horses worth of 9,100, 27 sheep worth of 18,900 were lost due to wildlife conflict. Also, 2 admission of fines worth of 4,000 were issued by wildlife poaching, while 30 leopards and tortoise life were seized. The Community Conservation Fund of Namibia has supported 3 conservancies to upgrade 7 community boreholes, solar panels, drinking wells, and drinking trough of Okenjimbi, Amaupa, Oshalongo, Onamandongo 2, Mbadi, Elago boreholes, and Ochimulunga. Furthermore, the Ministry of Industrialization, Trade and SME Development, Omusati Regional Office, was facilitated 4,070 application for close cooperation, 5th import and export permit, 81 SME certificate as part of the entrepreneurship development promotion through MTech program. The Ministry of Industrial Trade Headquarter Office has invited entrepreneurs from different regions through a local newspaper to apply a gemstone cutting and polishing training. Hence, it received 99 applications and the process is ongoing. The Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources has also contributed 300,000 catfish, 249 tilapia to 64 trained farmers at Onavivi, Ongwediva, and the Palela Fish Farm. At Onavivi, 1.9 million tilapia flies, tilapia fingerlings, and catfish flies and catfish fingerling were produced. Likewise, 14,500 tilapia, 2 tons at Onavivi, and a Palela 1.2 tons were harvested. A total of 2.5 tons of tilapia was donated to the Office of the Prime Minister for the flood victim in Omusati region, Ohangwena, and Oshana region. The rest was sold during the World Food Day at Ukuyushona in Oshana region on the 15th October 2022. Honorable members, it's so important, and sometimes we don't see the impact of aquaculture production. But you can now see that during the flood, the ministry, through just those 2 ponds, we are able to harvest these fish and donate them to our flood victims. In most cases, we are talking about we don't have employment, but we can create employment through horticulture. It's possible. On labor front, 130 labor complaints were received by Outapi Regional Office and were successfully addressed, while 40 complaints were forwarded to the Office of Labor Commissioner for resolution through a conciliation and arbitration process. The Labor Commissioner has received 118 labor cases, out of which 71 were resolved through conciliation and 42 through arbitration. As a result, the complaint received were 47 arbitration awards. The office has also carried out 63 workplace audits within the region to assess the degree of compliance with the fundamental terms, conditions of employment as per Labor Act. Act number 11, 2007. The inspections were conducted in security, energy, garage, transport, agriculture, construction, informal sector, retailer wholesale, industries, and wholesale sector. Through it noted that it's only agriculture, security, construction, and home domestic employees sectors are subject to minimum wage regulation. Honorable members, many a times we see people, specifically those employees, going on strike. It tells us to say, apart from the minimum wage that we have introduced for security officers and then the domestic employees, other sectors, they hire and fire as they wish. This is a situation that I think we have really to take a drastic step to make sure that there is a harmonization between employers and employees, and adequate salary must be paid to our people, because it will not make sense. You make profits out of the sweat of these employees, but their labor are not well remunerated. Therefore, is subjected to discrimination, and also seems like the operation is not yet done with. Because I provide my labor, and I need now to be compensated for my labor. But some sectors, they ignore and they keep, a blind eye in these instances. Otapi Labor Regional Office has further registered 718 women, 334 men job seekers. There were 1,052 registered job applications, but only 53 were hired. As part of the job creation, I hereby invite you to witness the first grape plantation farm at Etunda Green Scheme on the 20th September 2023. And about approximately 1,000 jobs will be created. Very, very important. You see, here we are talking about 1,059 applications were received, but only 57 out of that number were employed. What does it tell us? It tells us that we must intensify to try by all means to create a conducive environment for the investors to come and invest in our region. Now, there are some Namibians that they don't understand how difficult it is for you to convince an investor to invest in your region. But then, when you bring these people down, it's we again, the public, through misconceptions, we starting telling one another stories that are not right. We had an incident when we approved the asparagus production. All of a sudden, it went out in the public. These things is now stopping the rain and all other things. Maybe the grape will bring also stop the rain also the same way. One have now to ask yourself, where is the majority of our young people? Majority of them, you find them at Ausinke. Why they went to Ausinke? They went to Ausinke because it's where the opportunity, or it's where the chance of job opportunity could be found. Now we are bringing the same to our region. But I know, can we go again and Toitoi and say, please don't bring grape here because it's also going to stop rain? Then obviously we don't know what we are saying. Therefore, colleagues, I'm just inviting you, let us be a witness. Let us go and plant and say, I'm also part and parcel of this initiative. I'm expecting the support of you, comrade members. A total of 622 applications for resettlement were received by Omusati Regional Settlement Committee. However, only one person was allocated farm unit in Kulene region. Colleagues, if there's something that really made me to feel a little bit sad, it's really, sometimes when you look at it, me being the chairperson of this resettlement committee, we spent the whole year looking into those applications. We recommend, as is required, we forward it to the head office. Unfortunately, per year, mind you, 622 applications, and the only good answer you get is one per year. That story to me does not augur well at all. We have also to take into account that in the current moment, Omusati is one of the highest populated regions, meaning now we are fighting for space between ourselves and our animals. We don't have space any longer. Now you find our colleagues, our farmers, somebody farming with 2,000 head of cattle in a communal land. And of course, we have also to agree that sometimes when we have a lot of those animals, we don't see money. We see wealth and self-glorification, that yes, I have them. But the size of a land does not grow. The population grows, but the size of the land remains as it is. And therefore, as a way to offload the burden from the higher density areas like one of us, we suppose those who have the capacity, they must now move to the farm unit, to the commercial land. But this is the response that we are getting. I think it's not something that we can just keep quiet and say everything goes well. The Land Board has approved 1,806 customary land rights, and certification were forwarded to traditional authority for distribution. The board has approved 8 applications for the rights of the renthold, leasehold, and issuance of certificate. The board has issued a certificate and authorized 1 application for occupation land right, and the Communal Land Board has received 29 land-related disputes. 9 land disputes were resolved, while 14 were referred to traditional authority for further adjudication. 1 was referred to the minister's office for further investigation, and the 2 are at the magistrate court, and 2 at the higher court for adjudication. The community land lease income has received an amount of 106,113 Namibian dollars for communal lease. 8 fences were removed, while 3 unlawful barriers have also been removed willingly. Also, under the project of communal land development, 184,868 was invested in borehole cleaning and the pump testing at Okatutu breeding camp at Ochechekwa Cooperative. Also, 1.1 million was invested in the construction of 18.1 kilometers of external fence, and at Ohama Yongwe Farmer Cooperative, and 1.6 million on the construction of 49 kilometers external fence at America Farm Cooperative. Honorable Chairperson, honorable members, Owongo campus at UNAM has hosted a research and innovation day, and it was attended by local farmers and external presenters like Directorate of Forestry, Outapi, Olushanja Horticulture Producer, Agri-Bank of Namibia, Mobile Soil Testing Lab sponsors by GIZ, and 4 resilience projects, and various Ministry of Agriculture, Water and Land Reform offices, to mention but a few. Again, on 3rd June 2022, 3 Rice Farm Owongo constituency hosted the Farmer Information Day, and it was attended by about 70 stakeholders. Due to the modest ability of the laboratory technician, Owongo Campus Tissue Culture Laboratory has been abandoned for more than 10 years. However, in June 2022, the University of Namibia, in conjunction with Ganja Manda University from Indonesia, offered a training to 6 technologists at Owongo campus. Trainees, instruction and media preparation, sanitation and explant culture, in addition to fundamental theory on tissue culture procedures. Also, an agreement was signed between the Namibian Agronomic Board and UNAM to carry out seed research and multiplication on several locations in the country. The sponsorship for the project was 1.5 million. The primary objective of Owongo campus is the production and the selection of mahangu, maize, potato seeds, 6 distinct potato types, and 60 white maize hybrid, and 24 different pear millet mahangu variants were tested. The main goal is to establish a trustworthy local seed supply in Namibia to guarantee food security. Moreover, the campus has received a sponsorship of $750 Namibian to support food production, education of young Namibians by Deb Marine Namibia. The fund passage supply for poultry breeding activities and rising rice production. Thus, the campus annual production of rice rose from 4 hectares to 10 hectares, totaling 25 tons, and the hatchery capacity increased to 30,000 chicks annually. The main objective of the project is to plant native trees for carbon offset. It also helped to create a sense of protection in native plants and wildlife in general by raising the value of indigenous forestry products like marula fruits, monkey orange, and Ombe. The Phonex projects, an ongoing memorandum of understanding between the Cardiff University and UNAM, include this project as one of its components. Upon completion of the new and expanded nursery, the campus will able to begin growing and disseminating indigenous trees, seedlings, herbs, thanks to the Phonex project. Academically, 341 students were enrolled in a diploma in agriculture and BS in agriculture crop science program, which brought the campus student enrollment at 358. Likewise, 23 students graduated with diploma in natural resources management, and 11 students with a BS in integrated environmental science. The BSc degree agricultural engineering honor first intakes have commenced in 2023. Similarly, Nakayare Vocational Training Center has invested $4.6 million for the installation and connection of back electrical to newly constructed campus, include girl hostels in February 2023. An amount of $314,400 was spent on the procuring hostel beds and mattresses, while $4.7 million was invested in the installation of solar system. The state-of-art equipment for the newly electrical engineering and ICT workshop was installed, commissioned by experts at a value of 32 million Namibian dollars. The Government Institution Pension Fund has spent $69.8 million in end-user housing and development of housing. Likewise, $2 million was spent for the financial product provided to SME in various sectors in the region. NORAD invested $2.1 million on fencing of 11 kV mini substation rerouting of 33 kV overhead network in Okahao town and clear of network that encroach into plots. Rerouted 11 kV overhead line that feed the town of Luakana through though Olupaka 33 kV recloser installation, 33 kV at Yatiriasa back supply substation, rehabilitation of 33 kV at Onesi back supply rehabilitation. NORAD had also contributed $224,450 Namibian dollars towards the usage of 125 kilowatts of lamp in Omusati region. In accordance with the Memorandum of Understanding signed with the Vocational Training Center in NORAD area of operation, 6,000 Namibian dollars was paid for students who's on an internship and attachment at Outapi Regional Office for 4 months. Likewise, the Social Security Commission has invested an amount of $600,000 for construction of 2 classrooms with storeroom at Omalago Primary School. Honorable Chairperson, honorable members, in conclusion, beside ongoing challenges, it is heartening for having witnessed the groundbreaking ceremony of Otsandi Onguruombashe Road, worth of $35 million to bitumen standard. that was inaugurated on the 22nd May 2023. Likewise, the construction of Tsandi Onesi Epalela or Epalela Onesi Tsandi road to bitumen standards and the Ruakana South water pipeline project is still at an advanced stage, and we are looking forward for the timely completion of the project. So I must thank our regional and local authority councillors, traditional leaders, and stakeholders for their continuous support in building our region. And I am convinced that together shall we succeed in accelerating improved services delivery and upholding integrity, accountability in managing affairs of the region. The achievement which I have just shared with you in this August House are indeed the intensive efforts of all of us. We must clearly understand that no one else shall develop Omusati region. The onus is indeed upon all of us. So let us join hands, coordinate, remain steadfast in accomplishing these noble ideas. Long live the people of Omusati region. Long live the Harambee Prosperity Plan. Long live the Republic of Namibia. And I thank you very much.
And that was the governor of Omusati region, Erginius Njala, giving us a comprehensive State of the Region address for this region. What stood out for you?
Well, what stood out for me was the issue of the university research and production at Ogongo campus, where he informed the public and the region that they're even increasing their field for production, and they are contributing too much to food security in the region.
Okay. I also see from last year, I remember Okalongo was going to be proclaimed as the Onajaba Village Council. That now has taken effect, because you can see that he's now referring to that in some of the statements in his speech.
Yeah. It has now coming out clear that the Onanjaba have declared as a village council in effect, and we expecting that in the next election, next year, they will go to the poll to vote their representative in that village council.
You did speak about the importance of the University of Namibia joining hands with the community to be able to produce and solve some of these problems. And from the governor's speech, it speaks to the fact that the yields have increases, and much more land has now even been earmarked for more rice projects in the future.
Yeah, it is good. Like I said, they needed to, if the university can be more kind of inclusive, to cooperate and work together with the community where they are. The university will not serve a solo, but must work together with the community that surround them. It is very, very important that they include others, they involve stakeholders there, and apart from people acquiring skills at the degree level, the people around them can also acquire skills, basic skills of self-sustainable in terms of production, rice production, and many others.
Water delivery is another one that the governor touched on. I remember he said that 3 boreholes were drilled in Tandi, 3 at Onamulenge, and also 2 in the Rakana constituencies. Just that tying up with the importance of making sure that people have got access to clean water.
Yes. Yes, we have spoken about it earlier that the Ministry of Agriculture, Water have been hard at work to make sure they provide water. Of course, although it is not sufficient enough now, but they have done the best. We appreciate them. But like I said earlier, he also mentioned the traditional well, which I was talking about. That they come up with the idea to provide skills to the people and upgrade those traditional wells to be modernized, so that the people can use their water and how they to duct them properly and technically, and so that they can provide enough water for the household.
But also on a rather sad note, he spoke about the crime that has increased a little bit in the region, slightly increased with 257 incidences that is involving domestic violence. It's still a problem. How do you think that can be addressed?
That is a challenge. It's a challenge. One sad part, he also mentioned about rape case. Rape still continue to raise in our country. And the issue of domestic violence, of course, is one of the problems. If you look at statistics today, it's more involve young people. I think we needed to educate more our people, our young people, our children at home to respect each other. Not only men to respect women, but also women to respect men and men to respect women. Our behavior also as parents and community members and members of society should also change toward a good living, and to learn to become more kind of tolerant people of tolerance. I think the moment we do not command respect of tolerance, then that causes the problem of domestic violence.
The Ukwaludi Traditional Authority as well has come under the spotlight, because I'm sure that is where the Shea Shoshona Conservancy in that area where it is. As much as conservancies are good, there's a downside to it. Human-wildlife conflict. It's another thing that he also touched on, with a number of livestock being lost to those farmers.
Yes, which is in fact contributing to much of problems, because that issue, of course, it needs a strong campaign in terms of the wild and human conflict, so that our people must learn to live together with those wild animals. Of course, not always all of them are danger to human. Our people believe when they see anything close to them, they see meat or they see lunch, and we need to make it clear that animals should not be used for meat only, but that they must be used to develop our economies. Like I heard when you listen to them, that they provided some support to a different organized institution, like the kingdoms, the independence of our country celebration. They give oryx and donate meat of different species to a different organized, event. They will help, and we need to make sure that we take care of them, but not to destroy them.
Well, Eric, thank you so much for having joined us this morning to discuss the state of the region for Omusati region.
It's always my pleasure, my brother, and thank you very much for coming to Omusati and we hope to see you next year.
Yes,
this
like
time
I
around.
said, I'm definitely taking the sunsets with me. And with that concludes our part here, our task in the Omusati region, where Governor Ergines Njala gave his State of the Region address. Plenty of positives, also plenty to be able to ponder around. We've had the tremendous work that the University of Namibia is doing to be able to make sure that their hybrid seeds, they're producing rice now, and I'm sure that very soon, pretty soon, in all corners of this country, rice produced in Namibia will be coming on your plate. For myself, Leslie, and the team here, it's bye-bye until the 25th, or rather the 3rd of August, when we will be in Zambezi region for the State of the Region address there with Lawrence Sampofo. For myself and the crew here, bye-bye.
Longisa nakanaka miti ukwandi jokeme tateguru ena Shumbukani kami nyeleka chuchu Chai Omusati lo pogati Omusati region 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 Omusati lo pogati Omusati